Hey guys, whole family's sick. But I took the last couple trades I made just to learn from that. As I mentioned the other day, my short-term models haven't really been trustworthy, right? So I was kind of reevaluating things, and since I was sick the last couple of days, I did what I talked about. I didn't make any trades, but I just sort of like watched and figured, all right, if I was making a trade, I would do X, Y, Z, right? So I did that a little bit. I didn't want to share them. I was going to do that and like share trades with you guys and show you like, hey, I'm not making a trade with money here, but this is what I'm expecting, and then we can kind of watch it together. Last time I did that, though, a bunch of people just jumped into trades because I shared charts as if I was entering a trade, and people lost money. Anyway, so I just sort of did that on my own, and I'm actually feeling really confident about this. So my medium and long-term models have been superb. I'm looking into the alts now. My model on Bitcoin and Ethereum has been incredible, predicting this multi-month bull run, starting with a multi-week bullish reversal. We haven't gotten a correction in the short term that I anticipated, which is fine. My longer-term bags are doing great, but I haven't been able to make any money on newer short-term trades. I'm still not going to make the short-term plays. I'm going mid-term and long-term here, and I'm starting to make moves on alts. So I'm accumulating Link right here. Link of the more popular altcoins. I'm going to be looking at a bunch of the other alts specifically tomorrow. I'll do a more detailed breakdown, but I'm looking at um, uh, some of the more popular ones first, and Link is incredibly bullish right now. So if you look at the model on Link, right, the Stoke model has been great, much like with the other charts I've been talking about. Like my predictions on the majors have been impeccable because of my midterm and long-term models, right? So if you look at the bullish reversal in the monthly Stoke here, we're starting to move up. I think we're going to go to all-time highs. I expect a 50% run at the very least over the course of the first couple months in that run, and we might go even much, much bigger after that. But at least initially, we see the weekly turning up. And the weekly, we have a couple really great things here. So if we zoom in a little bit, you'll see Ichima dynamic support, top of the cloud, 55 EMA, right? We also have this cloud wall here. Remember, when you have the top of the cloud, that's this green line right here. When the top of the cloud is going vertical like that, especially when I have a lot of support from the Ichima dynamic supports, meaning the EMAs and the cloud itself, specifically the top of the cloud, look what happens. See, this bounced down here. Look how it launched up along with that cloud wall, came back down, got support at the top of the cloud, and then started that next leg up. That next leg up right here, at the very least, just to get to the top of the cloud, that main support is going to hold 18% above where we are now. But that's just with this reversal. The weekly is reversing a little early on the Stoke. I wish it got down a little bit lower. But the fact that we're reversing now and we have the monthly looking this bullish makes me really confident long term. Midterm, long term, I really, really like Link. So I'm accumulating that bag now. Um, I will buy more if we dip down closer to the top of the cloud. I think we're going to move sideways. We might dip a little bit, but the cloud is vertical here, so I don't see that much room to come back down. So I'm buying right now. I bought today. And if we do come down a little bit, I can buy and lower my entry, like a dollar cost average in a bit more on Link. Um, but I'm not too worried about getting the perfect price. Now, if I was trying to get the best potential entry, one of the things you can look at on the daily chart, we have a lot of resistance here at the bottom of the cloud, right? Once we get above the cloud, we're wide open. We don't have any resistance there. We have supports down here in the daily. All that is wide open. So looking at the Stoke model, I'm not too concerned about it on the daily chart. The Stoke just turned up on the daily, but we haven't had a nice repeating pattern on this chart for a while on the daily, so I don't think this is necessarily bearish or anything like that. There are some things about the chart um, that aren't particularly exciting, but the overall trend is so bullish, right? We have this run up, then this correction, and we're starting that next leg. So if I were to look at this as the start of the next motive wave, right? So with this impulse, that's wave one, this is wave two. We're starting wave three. Just to give you an idea of, in the short term, the sort of potential we can see in wave three. Remember, wave three is often the target for wave three is very often the 1618 extension, right? The 161.8% um, level above wave one. So wave one, if it went from $0 to $100, um, then the wave 3 would theoretically go $161.80, right? So that 1/6 extension, just to show you where that could end up, if we do a fib extension here, from the bottom of this run, right, from that wave 1 to the top of the wave 1, and then set it down at the bottom of that wave 2 correction, we would have just under $60 would be that wave 3 target. So we would end up with the wave 1, this would be wave 2, and then wave 3 would take us up to 59.21. I'm not too worried right now about where wave 4 correction would go, but we would correct with wave 4, get a dip down, and then start the next leg. Whoops. Let's undo that. Like that in place. I was going to do a live stream tonight, but I'm going to wait till my voice comes back. Like I said, the entire family is sick. All right, so just this more immediate run with the weekly turning bullish, what we could see here, we might see something where we get this whole run, this whole wave 3 run, could be a potential 175% run. Like there is so much potential here for a big move on Link. I'm not necessarily calling this officially saying, hey, I'm predicting 175% run. That would be a really big move, but it is very, 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 very much possible if the model holds. And again, just to show you why on the higher time frames, I love it so much. We have the weekly turning up on the Stoke. Again, we didn't get a full reset on the Stoke, but look what happened here. All these moves on the Stoke, we had a repeating wave pattern, but we didn't have full resets all the way to the bottom. We did over here, but even when we had a partial halfway reset and turned up, we were able to start another really bullish leg up. And more importantly, if we pull up all the way to the monthly, you'll see the monthly is turning up here as well, which is huge. That's following exactly what I predicted with Bitcoin. Think about this for a second. What I see on Link here is essentially what I saw on Bitcoin 2 months ago, right? 2 months ago, Bitcoin had a really big correction. And after we had the first big correction down to 30K, I said we might wick down a little bit, but overall 30K is generally going to be the bottom. We wicked down at one point to 28.8, but that overall held. It's then when we started the recovery on this latest move up. A couple months ago, I said we're going to have a nice correction, and then we're going to start a multi-month bull run to all-time highs. And that is exactly how it played out. That model was essentially based on what I was seeing on the weekly and the monthly, the sort of bullish reversals that we're seeing right now on Link. The timing is off a little bit slightly. Link is following Bitcoin, so it hasn't been as bullish. We haven't seen a lot of the altcoins be as bullish as the majors because the the more popular altcoins, right? Some have done really well, but for the most part, the more popular alts haven't really excelled of late. Some of the less popular and the newer alts, including meme tokens, have done really well with the majors. Something else I want to talk about at some point is XRP. I am expecting XRP to eventually beat their lawsuit with the government. Once that happens, I think you're going to see a lot of money flow back in. We didn't see that much money leave, honestly. I would have expected XRP to take a bigger hit, but it actually held remarkably well compared to the sort of news that we were seeing come out with the lawsuit from the government. I think if we get an announcement that the lawsuit is officially falling apart or if it gets dismissed or something like that, I would expect a massive immediate pump. Within a couple of days, we could see a doubling of XRP. And then longer term, I think we can continue a trend on XRP to higher levels. I never was a big fan of XRP from a fundamentals perspective. I'm still not. I don't like the way it works. We don't really have it's not a decentralized project. It's just not. It's very much centralized, but considering what it's intended to do, having a sort of midway point isn't necessarily a bad thing. To overtake the banking sector, to replace SWIFT and create an avenue for crypto and blockchain technology to be employed by the banking industry, I wouldn't necessarily expect them to jump into bed with a fully decentralized system right away because they lack control, and this is an industry that obsesses over control. That's how they've taken over the world, right? So XRP is a good platform in that respect because the banks might not be comfortable going fully decentralized, but with a project like XRP, they can still maintain some control, even if blockchain and cryptocurrency purists like us who are into the technology and into the industry might not consider it the gold standard of what a decentralized project should be. I think those industries like banking might be more interested in working with a project like Ripple for that reason. They would actually appreciate the fact that they aren't really like a traditional cryptocurrency, which is fully decentralized. Anyway, with all that in mind, I think XRP is going to be a big long-term play. All the time I spent shitting on XRP in the past, making jokes and laughing about how it sucks, it is what it is. I'm going to be real. Like it has the potential to make a lot of money. So my personal feelings about it, or the way the industry at large and people in the community feel about it, is irrelevant. If it can make us money, it's worth looking at. So I think XRP is a big long-term play. I'm going to be getting back into XRP in the very near future. I'm not sure how I want to time it and how I want to I guess I'm going to want to look at the technicals to identify the best buying strategy, but I'm certainly going to be entering into a longer-term XRP position soon. I do have some long-term in cold storage with my normal long-term investments, but not much, especially since I liquidated a lot of my positions earlier on when I needed some money, and I haven't really gotten back to the levels I used to be at. I think as I'm putting more money back into my longer-term portfolio, I wasn't planning on doing much with XRP, but now, considering everything I just explained, I think XRP is going to be a good place to put some of that money. I think Link, of the more popular altcoins, is what I'm most excited about for the immediate bullish reversal as we see Bitcoin go to all-time highs, which, again, can't say it enough. The model has been flawless. My midterm and long-term analyses on Ethereum and Bitcoin since I got back into trading, and even when I wasn't as active over the past couple months, has been incredibly accurate. So I'm not necessarily trusting my shorter term models now, but my mid and long term analyses have been spot on. I think it's going to make me a lot of money. For now, I'm starting small as far as diversification, but over the next week or two, I'm going to be jumping into several more larger long term positions on the alts. I'm aiming to get into 8. It's sort of the magic number I came up with. I've talked about that a lot in the past. When you're diversifying your portfolio, you don't want to spread yourself too thin and have a small amount of money invested in 30 different projects. For a few reasons. For longer term stuff, you want to pay attention to fundamentals, market psychology, things like that. But you don't want to have to spread yourself too thin where you can't pay attention to those details on the various projects you're invested in. So longer term stuff where you're getting into longer term investments, you want to be able to pay attention to those things, and you don't want to spread yourself too thin. The other thing is there are other ways to diversify. Instead of just getting into different projects for the sake of expanding the number of investments you have, you want to diversify industries. You want to get into some cryptos that are in the banking industry, some cryptos that could be in smart contracts, things like that. So you want to have a diversity of assets in specialization or industry as well. So there are several ways you want to focus your attention on your diversification strategy. And one of the things I often discuss is getting into a set number of plays. And in this case, the magic number for me is 8 with the amount of capital I have right now. And the amount of time I'm looking to invest in doing longer term analyses, I think 8 would be good. If I got into 12 different longer term projects, to have 12 longer term charts that I'm constantly looking at to view the technicals, where I am paying attention to the news and I have notifications enabled for the various news outlets, right? It gets to be too much. So I'll go over some of the alts that I'm looking at, and I'm going to be doing a more detailed video, like I said, where I run through my watch list and look at some of the models that look good on the longer term side. Because if I can find 5 or 6 other assets, like I did with Link, that look like BTC models did over the past couple months, I think that's going to be pretty much the best possible longer-term portfolio I could put together. Because the way my Bitcoin analyses played out was so good that if I can see that same scenario and that same model developing on 5 or 6 of the alts, especially some of the higher market cap, more popular alts that have the liquidity, that have the stability, I think I'm going to be able to put together a superb mid to long-term portfolio. All right, I'll touch base with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully my voice comes back and I can do a live stream. I've been dying to get back into my live stream routine, so I'll talk to you soon. Catch up with you tomorrow. All right, guys, bye.